plane. The plane. This is actually getting kind of funny. So Donald Trump's like, I mean, heck, they want to give me a plane. I've been sitting here waiting on Boeing, which can't get out of its own way. And somebody wants to give me a plane? Like, why the heck wouldn't I take that offer? Here he is talking with ABC News. He also admitted on Fox just last night, and I want to get to that next, that it's kind of pathetic that we have Air Force One, which is so outranked by all these other planes. It's like this puny little plane. And as I told you at the top of the show, you know, CEOs, they tend to take the plane thing kind of seriously. I've been with some of them, and they're like, you'll get to the airport, and I've ridden actually on some of these planes, and like they're looking out and they see somebody else's plane. They're like, oh, it's this whole thing. Like a whole weird subculture of CEO life. They're really into their planes. So it does not surprise me that Donald Trump is into his plane as well. We'll get to that. But first, listen to what he told the ABC reporter.
Mr. President, what do you say to people who view that luxury jet as a personal gift to you? Why not leave it behind?
You're ABC fake news, right?
Why not?
Only ABC, well, a few of you would. Let me tell you, you should be embarrassed asking that question. They're giving us a free jet. I could say, no, don't give us, I want to pay you $1 billion or 400 million or whatever it is. Or I could say, thank you very much. You know, there was an old golfer named Sam Snead. Did you ever hear him? He won 82 tournaments. He was a great golfer. And he had a motto, when they give you a putt, you say, thank you very much. You pick up your ball and you walk to the next hole. A lot of people are stupid. They say, no, I insist on putting it. And then they putt it and they miss it. And their partner gets angry at them. You know what? Remember that, Sam Snead. When they give you a putt, you pick it up and you walk to the next hole and you say, thank you very much.
Respectfully, sir, as a businessman, some people may look at this and say, have you ever been given a gift worth millions of dollars and then not received anything?
It's not a gift to me, it's a gift to the Department of Defense. And you should know better, because you've been embarrassed enough, and so has your network. Your network is a disaster. ABC is a disaster.
Feel like your dad or your grandpa or something just saying, hey, you know, you don't look a gift horse in the mouth. Sam Snead, remember that story. You know what? You just keep moving on. You want to give me something great? You want to give the American people something great? I think I'm willing to take it. And by the way, the thing that I have, I'm not really liking very much. He is, you know what, about this puny little plane. Again, CEOs care about the size of the plane. They care about how new it is, how tricked out it is. It's like a whole subculture of CEO life. And I bet it kind of irritated him. Well, I know it kind of irritated him. He told Sean last night it irritated him. He saw Air Force One looking so puny on the tarmac compared to all those Middle Eastern planes. Here we go.
I said, where's the plane? And they having difficulty. I'm not happy with Boeing, but we're going to work on Boeing. And Boeing's got some unbelievable people working for it, so I'm not going to do anything bad to Boeing. But they had a strong contract. I wrote the contract. It was a guaranteed price contract, and if I wanted to, I could, hurt Boeing, and I don't want to hurt Boeing. But they are very late with the plane, and Qatar heard about it, and he's a great leader. And we were talking, and he said, if I can help you, let me do that. And they had a plane, not a new plane at all, but they had a plane. And these planes, the plane that you're on right now is almost 40 years old. And when you land and you see Saudi Arabia and you see UAE and you see Qatar and you see all these, and they have these brand new Boeing 747s mostly, and you see ours next to it, this is like a totally different plane. It's much smaller, it's much less impressive as it is. And we're the United States of America. I believe that we should have the most impressive plane. So anyway, so they said to me, we would like to, in effect, we would like to make a gift. You've done so many things, and we'd like to make a gift to the Defense Department, which is where it's going. And I said, well, that's nice. Now, some people say, oh, you shouldn't accept gifts for the country. My attitude is, why wouldn't I accept a gift? We're giving to everybody else. Why wouldn't I accept a gift? Because it's going to be a couple of years, I think, before the Boeings are finished. And they'll be wonderful when they're finished, but that's a long time.
Isn't part of your argument how the United States has paid untold billions and trillions of dollars securing every aspect of the world?
Well, I said that. I said, we've secured that part of the world for many years. So if somebody makes a gift, then I get nothing. I get to fly it like any other president would. Ultimately, it'll be at the end of its lifetime or at the end of the term, because we're going to have the other ones in by that time.
So the U.S. is
It'll
kind of
be
giving them
decommissioned.
gifts. It's called national defense.
Yeah.
And
No, well,
security.
we give a lot of gifts. We give too many gifts, to be honest with you. We give gifts to defend countries that wouldn't even exist. Many countries wouldn't even exist. All over the world, countries wouldn't even exist. But I thought it was a beautiful gesture. Now, there are those that say we shouldn't be accepting gifts to the Defense Department. And I would say only a stupid person would say that. Why wouldn't we do that? And so it helps us out because we'll have a relatively new plane instead of having 40-year-old planes. These planes are 40 years old, and that's not representative of our country.
Wow. So, if you really peel back the layers and you think about this, he's making the point that, we gift all this money all over the world. And so they're going to give us this gift. Maybe why not? We take it. I will tell you that he's not exactly somebody who's going to say, oh, okay, well, because you gave me this, I'm going to give you this, and this. In fact, his very good ally there in Israel, he apparently blew off. He had an opportunity to stop there in Israel first, and he kind of went straight to Saudi Arabia. He's doing that stuff with Syrians and revoking sanctions and this, that, and the other. And people were kind of surprised, right? Because Netanyahu, Israel, they're kind of, very, very chummy, and yet he just kept moving on. So he's not necessarily, just because, okay, Qatar gives them a wonderful $400 million plane doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to then extend the favor. The other thing that's important about that is what he's saying is that no, it's not a gift for me, it's a gift for the Defense Department, and the Defense Department will keep it. So why am I going to charge taxpayer dollars? It's a different way of thinking about things. Of course, everybody worries that they're buying influence. Ben Rhodes, who was high up in the Obama administration, was on recently a podcast or MSNBC, I'm not sure which one, but he went on to discuss this and his view on this. Again, Ben Rhodes from the Obama administration, he's the guy that believed you could just create this echo chamber of news and then somehow infiltrate public opinion that way. He's probably also the guy who had a hand in the repeal of the Smith-Mundt Act back in 2013, which enabled taxpayer dollars to then be used not just overseas for trying to affect public opinion, but back here in the good old US of A. Let's listen to one Mr. Rhodes talking about how the Saudis offered him all kinds of gifts. I'm just going to point out the obvious, which is totally different, Ben, if you were getting gifts than if the president is getting Air Force One that's going to be retrofitted and outfitted by our own defense team, and it is something that will stay in the Department of Defense, unlike the jewels you allegedly got. By the way, I think Biden kept those things. Hunter, remember? Ben said he was offered something similar. Why?
Or they can be loaned out to presidential libraries. Now, I remember this all made me think about one particular trip back in 2009 when President Obama went to Saudi Arabia. And the king gave gifts, big ones, not just to the Obamas, but to several of his advisors, including Ben Rhodes, who wrote about it in his book, The World as It Is. And he wrote about what was waiting for him in his room on that trip when he returned from a day of meetings. Here's what he wrote. When I opened the door to my unit, I found a large suitcase. Inside were jewels. Now, pivotally, he explains, no one kept them. It feels like this White House, I think it's safe to say, is approaching things a little bit differently, but it felt worth discussing how this is supposed to work. So joining me now is Ben Rhodes, former Deputy National Security Advisor for President Obama, and someone I trust as much as anybody to explain foreign policy stuff like this and many other things. Okay, Ben, I was not on this trip. I do remember it well because I think it was sort of shocking to those of you who received these suitcases, this surprise suitcases of jewels and other things. And I remember you all wanting to kind of get as far away from it as possible. So I just want to start there because I think it helps explain how abnormal what we're seeing now is.
Yeah, Jen, I remember it well. It was one of the first trips we took overseas in 2009. I had not slept on the plane. I was working on a speech that President Obama gave in Cairo, which was a high-profile speech. And I come into this room I'm staying in. It was kind of almost like a bungalow. And there's just a suitcase there right inside the door. And I open it, and it was full of these jewels, kind of mounted on this suitcase. And for a minute, I kind of panicked because I thought, well, maybe they know I'm the speechwriter writing this high-profile speech he's giving to the world, and this is some kind of, extra special gift for me. But then I quickly found out that everybody had gotten these suitcases, and we were very quickly told by the state protocol office that helps plan these visits to just give them the suitcases. I think this thing was in my possession for, not even a night. And we were offered the opportunity to pay tens of thousands of dollars of our own money if we wanted to keep these things. We obviously didn't do that. And didn't even think about it. It wouldn't have even crossed my mind to kind of take some of these jewels and slide it in my bag. Little did I know that if it had been a $400 million plane, maybe I could have kept it, or maybe a $2 billion investment in my fund, as Jared Kushner got. But times seem to have changed.
It's quaint almost remembering these times. It was like a hot potato wanting to get rid of the...
I'm dying. I'm looking at your comments. You guys are funny. I know she's hard to watch, Peppermint Patty. And they actually have her replacing Rachel Maddow, if you can imagine. And like if things weren't bad enough for Rachel Maddow with those ratings, woo, they've fallen off a cliff with little Peppermint Patty, who brings on her friends like Ben Rhodes. Okay, but you see there's a difference, right? Because in that case, it would have been jewels for Ben and maybe his wife or a significant other or God knows what. Maybe we would have traded him in for cash. I don't know. But like they were an individual gift. The difference here is it's a gift to the government. And so it strikes me as kind of a different proposition. And I know that they're saying, he could use it for the presidential library. He's saying, no, it's going to go to the Defense Department. It's a gift to the Defense Department. So, hey, you know what? Get over yourselves. Please, enough already. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth. Remember the Sam Snee story, okay? It's not personal, it's to the U.S. government. And as long as we're able to retrofit it and make sure that it's secure, et cetera, hey, maybe this is the fire in their step that they need over at Boeing. Boeing, wake up. Your contract's overdue. You got to get with the program and get them the darn plane, for goodness sakes. Oh, wow, we got a market that's been on fire. Did you see the NASDAQ today? Way up again. Let me check. Just before I came to air, I think we were up about 0.6%. We're still up 0.6%. S&P up a touch. Dow Jones Industrial Average just about flat. But guys, this is amazing. We have completely recovered everything that we have lost since Liberation Day. And you know what? I told you it would happen. Did I not? I tell you, well, you know what? I'm not the only one who told you it would happen. Somebody else told you it would happen. Mm-hmm.
It's the biggest bill of its kind ever in the history of this country. And Speaker Johnson and Leader Thune have done an incredible job. I mean, I'll let you know we have to get a vote, but we have a lot of support for that bill. And if that happens on top of all of these trade deals that we're doing, this country will hit a point that you better go out and buy stock now. Let me tell you, this country will be like a rocket ship that goes straight up. This is going to be numbers that nobody's ever seen before. That's a very important element of all of this. If we get that, if you don't, and the Democrats are fighting it only because they want to fight. They have Trump derangement syndrome. If it was somebody else, they wouldn't fight. If you had a normal person, if you had some stiff sitting behind you, they'd be fine. But they have Trump derangement syndrome. Senator Schumer's become a Palestinian. Welcome. I don't know when they're going to give him the ceremony, whatever the ceremony may be. But it's terrible what's happened to the Democrats. So very, very important element of everything, of what we're doing.
Did you hear Howard Lutnick yakking it up in the background? Anyway, Letitia's going after him for that one. I think, there was the Liberation Day moment right after Liberation Day when things were really in the you-know-what. He said on True Social, go out and buy stocks, similar to what we told you there at 76 Research. Make sure you subscribe to the 76 report so you are up on all of this. There's a lot of opportunity to be had. It's only $1 a month. It's my gift to all of my viewers. I created this with all of you guys in mind because so many people have said to me, I've had a 20-some-odd year background in financial markets, and they're like, what do I do? How do I invest? And I'm like, okay, it's time. I need to be able to do something outside of the show every day that really enables people to have a more prosperous future. So I created this with my friend Rob, 76research.com. Use code word dollar. But the point being that Donald Trump said as things were totally tanking and as it seemed like the wheels were coming off the bus after Peter Navarro came up with all those tariffs, which were sort of like worst case scenario things. And I said the same thing. I actually went in very hard, very hard. It's what I do. I don't entirely know why. Like, you know, I should have more fear, I guess, but I don't. I mean, it's like what happened during 2020 in March 2020. I was furious because the stock market was selling off so badly. And I'm like, this is nuts. Like, you guys are just totally nuts. There are long-term fundamentals that are really, really good for our country and our economy. And I have a feeling that Donald Trump is going to come through with ways to make this all right, and the Federal Reserve is going to come through, et cetera, et cetera. But, you know, the market's tanking, and I bought, and it's the same thing that I did the other day. I like buying when things are low, right? Buy low, sell high. That's the whole idea. So go check out 76research.com. I do want to point out a couple things, big deals being announced at this moment, guys. We've got Boeing getting a huge deal. So over in Saudi Arabia, you know, it's one of the places all of these companies go to do big deals. Boeing and GE Aerospace have secured a deal. Amazing. A 96, let me get this on the screen for you, secure a $96 billion order from Qatar. This is incredible, right? From Qatar Airlines. So, you know, look, they may not be able to get Air Force One done, but they're going to get this Qatar Airlines for aircraft and engines. So that's kind of a big deal. It's very good news for Boeing. And you wonder, like, how much just Donald Trump showing them a little bit of love, Donald Trump saying, yeah, we'll consider this possible Air Force One is contributing to that. So that's a big deal. And there's another one that's getting announced. I wanted to tell you about America also signing a deal. So let me get this on the screen for you. This is huge. Signs deal. Let's make sure I spell it right. Deals with U.S. companies. $90 billion. So $90 billion. What he's doing is he's going around the world. This is the Saudi Arabian company. So they are doing big deals with ExxonMobil, with NVIDIA, and also with Amazon. So another huge opportunity here for U.S. companies. In other words, let's get business here in the U.S. This is a business person we have in the White House, and he gets it, right? So you've got the stock market up on the year. You've got all of these deals getting announced there in Saudi Arabia today. Like, this is good stuff, right? Good stuff. I hope you can cash in on it too. Go check out our model portfolios. Income Builder is good for anybody who wants to be able to retire one day. Lots of dividend stocks in there. You can see they've been taken off 76portfolios.com. Inflation protection. You see that. Then we have a growth portfolio, American Resilience. In the meantime, again, code word dollar. Go check that out.